Hello, my name is Kyle Dunn, and I am presenting on formation matrix for eight-man spread offense. It's a system I've been working on for some time, and I'm just excited to be able to share it with you guys. First, I want to just thank Coach Bandstra for putting these clinics on, organizing them, getting them, just reaching out to speakers, and getting them on your YouTube channel. They're really cool. They're really informative. I've tried to watch one a day, and you've been able to reel in some great speakers and get some good information put out there. So, Coach, thank you so much for keeping the game growing and just doing your thing. Yeah, it's quite impressive, and I really appreciate it. Um, like I said, I'm just super excited to be able to share about my formation matrix because I think it's I think it's really cool. I think it could help one or two guys out if they want it to. So, topics I want to discuss, obviously introduce what I'm talking about. I'm talking about setting up and installing the offense, go over the actual formation matrix itself, which I think is the most unique thing we do, the most interesting, and what's worth the most sharing. A little bit of the run game to show you how this could work in a play, work a little bit of the pass game, screen game, and just a couple ideas for tempo. So this is gonna be a lot, and I'll try to go fast. So this is your typical eight-man, your typical eight-man spread offense. It's your 3-by-1, your 2-by-2 formations. There's all of this stuff that I'm putting together to make my own offensive package. I've begged, borrowed, and stolen from other great coaches. And what I really appreciate about the eight-man game is all the coaches are so open, so willing to share and just bounce ideas off each other. And so I've learned a lot from you guys. So thank you. And I just want to continue the discussion, continue to evolve, and to see what we could come up with. This offense will incorporate run and shoot / air raid option routes, especially if anyone is familiar with the vertical choice concept. That is pretty much what we hang our hat on in the passing game. I've always believed that the fewer the better in terms of plays and more formations. I heard Rick Darlington tell me that formations are cheap, plays are expensive, and it totally makes sense because every play has the intricacies and details that you need to work out and you need to rep to master. Formations are a little different though. You could if you could get a system where they could know where to line up, then run those few plays. You could make a simple system and dress it up, decorate it however you want to make it look as complex and innovative as possible. And also another bit about this offense, I would have to share that our QB run game, our quarterback is our primary ball carrier. So the QB run game is heavily emphasized. I don't know if I mentioned, but I'm a single wing guy at heart. I believe that the QB run game is the great equalizer, and it makes even greater difference in the eight-man game because of the numbers are even fewer. So getting that guy, getting the QB involved in the run game, could pay off big time. The philosophy, meaning what's our plan of attack? It's basically to force the defense to defend as much of the field as possible. That means vertically, trying to stretch the field vertically and also horizontally, and using as much space as we can. And it's a little different for me. I'm in Washington State, and in Washington and Oregon, we use the whole 53 and 1/3 yard. It's a full field, so spacing is even more pronounced. In my neck of the woods, I know, Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Iowa, all those plains states. They're probably a little more ahead than we are with their 40-yard field, 40-yard width with 80 yards, 40 by 80. Trying to push for that. In Washington, But hey, that's a song for another time. Anyway, so another part of this offense that is really vital is tempo, tempo, tempo. We value tempo and simplicity over everything, guys. Our goal is to get 100 offensive plays in every game, and that's kind of the minimum. Everything has to be done at a sprint pace, and in order for that to happen, in order for us to truly be as up tempo as possible, everything has to be simple. Because I believe that if things aren't simple, players are going to be confused, and if they're confused, they're going to play slow. So, and slow players aren't well in tempo. Don't do well in the tempo system. So, to take the responsibility off the players, we'll actually put the responsibility onto the players because it's super simple. They have no excuse. We're just going to go fast, and we're going to do our rules, and we're going to just go with it. This offense is also designed to create and exploit matchups. Like I said, by spreading the field, especially here in the Northwest, a full size field. You pretty much want to force the defense to play man coverage, not have any other options, and you also want to force the defense to with that QB run game to not have a free safety deep to kind of bracket a player, bracket your best guy. So with our quarterback run game, we want to force the defense in basically a cover zero. Once we're in a cover zero, we could shift, motion, trade, whatever we have to do to get into the formation that is going to give us the best chance with our best guy versus one of their lesser players. Okay, and also a big thing that I've come to realize is football is a numbers game. There's numbers, the field length, the field width, those are numbers. Ineligible receivers, you could have a certain number of those. Ineligible receivers, eligible receivers. Just everything is predicated on numbers, and numbers define the game. So why not have a system that's based on numbers? Okay, and along with that, when you teach players the numbers of the game and how they work, you help them understand football better, and a smarter football player is a better football player. So we are always keep in mind that we want to develop players with high football IQ, and that'll give us some great returns because they understand how to finesse a defense formationally or just by understanding who's eligible and who's not. When they're on defense, they know who to cover, so we're not going to have any, and obviously we're a man coverage team, and we have a accounting system on defense too. So teaching football from a universal standpoint about numbers, and it just it helps develop the whole player, if you will. So those are a couple of the base philosophical things I had to mention. Let's talk about the offense, setting it up. Two things first that I wanted to mention, guys. 8-man football, your best athlete plays quarterback, no matter what. We'll talk about, I know, where I'm going to hear that, my best athlete can't throw a ball to save his life. I get it. That's okay. We're going to be a run team, but we're going to also have a super simple pass game. So we're going to take the stress off of the quarterback. If he can't throw, if he can, great. But I feel two throws that are really easy that our passing game is built on is vertical. Every kid knows how to throw a deep, just arm strength will vary, but if you could throw it 20, 30 yards, we'll be okay. A vertical route and a screen route. So our passing game is extremely limited, and that's okay. We don't want the quarterback thinking, we want the quarterback reacting. And obviously with that, tempo is everything. Everything is done at a fast pace. We are the aggressors, and 8-man in general has been dubbed basketball on grass, and that's usually a negative connotation. Negative connotation. I don't believe that is the case because we all know football is under attack. Football is always scrutinized for being unsafe, violent, whatever you want to say. But by getting players in space, reducing those head-on collisions, making all the tackles, profile. I mean, not profile, but shoulder to hip, kind of that side pursuit. I think those have been studies have shown those are the safest tackles. So, with the player safety in mind, basketball on grass, that isn't, that's not a bad thing. And if you watch college football, most of these teams, your Oklahomas, your Clemsons, they want to go fast. Baylor, back in the Art Briles day, who I have studied a great deal and adopted some of his philosophies and concepts, but tempo is always at the forefront. And so for me, it's tempo over complexity. And I know probably just about every coach in America says that they value simplicity. They want to have a simple system. No one, I don't think anyone sets out to make a complex system, but I want to show you how simple things can be. So setting up the offense, I want you to, you tell the players, okay, guys, you have 8 players on offense. It's 8-man football, right? So you hand the center a ball, and you line up a quarterback 5 yards off of him in like a shotgun look. Okay, then you line up each of your players on 3 on the left of the center, 1, 2, 3, and 3 on the right of the center, 5, 6, 7. Okay, these are the players' positions. Quote. Okay, they're numbered positions. So working from left to right, always 1, 2, 3. It's and 4 would be the center, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so that's how you introduce this offense. Okay, to call a formation, you just call a number, and those numbers tell the players who's off the line of scrimmage. And this starts with helping players understand that who's eligible. So eligible receivers are end man on the line of scrimmage, and the 2 players, not counting the quarterback, who are off the line of scrimmage. Those are our 4 eligibles. So helping students, and you could set this up in a classroom or whatever you need to do to teach this concept, to teach, grow that football IQ. But you tell them that the call numbers are off the line of scrimmage. Okay. Along with that, we could also tag it. We'll get into this, but our tags are split, which is both backs in the backfield, like a split back. Ace, 1 back in the backfield. When we call ace, we are a right-handed team. That's a tendency of ours, and that's okay because this quarterback is our athlete. And what I found is our best athlete is usually a baseball player and usually a shortstop. I don't want to make too many generalizations, but this is what I'm thinking. For the majority, athletes like to throw on the run, and that's what they are good at. So we're a right-handed team, and a lot of our stuff will be rolling to the right because our quarterback's right-handed. He has just a better angle to throw a pass to the right or look to the right in the first step of the progression. However, I don't want to talk about that right now. I just want to talk about setting up the offense. So, like I said, the players off the call numbers are off line of scrimmage, and the tag will tell them exactly where to line up. If there's no tag, they just line up where they are usually at, but just off. So, and I'll show you some examples right now, actually. Our base formation is our 26. It's your basic spread, empty look, 2x2 with our 2 slot guys. When you think about personnel, our 3, 4, and 5, your typical O-line, D-line types. Obviously, in 8-man football, you can't be too choosy. You don't have a lot of options, but you want to work from 3, 4, 5. Those numbers working out is the more athletic, more skill guys, as you'd say. But I think they're all skill guys anyway. So this is our base 2x2 formation. Okay, if we want to talk about a tag, or also these 2, 17 and 26. So 26, like I said, tells the 2 and the 6 that they're off. 17 will tell the 1 and the 7 that they're off. And so these 2 formations are pretty much our bread and butters. 26 over, our over tag uh, tells the two offensive backs, OBs as they're called, because they're back off the line of scrimmage, that they're on the same side. So that's our over tag. And so 26 over is just trips. Okay, 26 ace. Since we're a right-handed team, we're going to keep the slot to the right. So the lower number is our ace back if there's just one back. And it depends on the play. But he could be behind the quarterback, to the left, to the right. Just depends on the play. Split, like I said, two backs in the backfield, split back look. Stack is the two backs are stacked behind the end man line of scrimmage. And obviously, I formation. Everyone's familiar with I formation. This is great for our triple look. And 12 is we can start to get into our unbalanced look. Like I said, I have a single wing, unbalanced single wing palette for attacking defenses. So one way to do that is we get into 12, then we get into 12 over, and all of a sudden we have kind of an exotic look, but it doesn't really take a lot of time for us to install this exotic look. And then we could still run our base plays with our 3-4-5 not changing, but it just looks a little different for the defense. It makes the defense think. And when the defense is thinking, hopefully we're going so fast that they can't react, and we get some cheap, easy touchdowns because guys are uncovered because defenses can't react quick enough to identify who's eligible, who's ineligible, and things like that. 12 split is another unbalanced formation, but with the 1 and 2 in the backfield. So those are just a few examples. Here's the formation matrix itself. So what I think is super innovative, cool about this offense is teaching your players just the principle of 1 through 7 on the line. The call number is off the line, and then you can get into different looks very easily. So there's 22 built-in formations, not even counting tags. When you count in the 5 tags that you could add to each formation, that gives you actually 110 different formations you could get in if you just teach this formation matrix. So if there's one thing that you learn today, I want you to learn how the formation matrix can be taught and how it can be used to get into a lot of formations and not having to really think too much about it. So I want to talk about 26 and 17. I've showed you guys those formations earlier, but those are our basic, our two basic formations. Those are 2x2, and that's our spread package right there. But these other exotic, all these other formations, most of them are considered exotic, and we really don't have a lot of plays with them. But we'll have a sweep, something cheap. Sweeps are cheap because everyone's reaching to the right or reaching to the left or whatever the play is. Or screens too. Our screen game is super simple, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But this formation matrix, teaching students this, teaching players this, helps them understand offensive football and how to get into different looks very quickly. These things I wanted to mention, since our base snapper is number 4, usually he's snapping, but there's going to be times when he's off the line of scrimmage and he can't snap the ball. So in those cases, we have these highlighted right here. Our red formation tells the number 3 that he snaps the ball. Those 3 red formations are 14, 24, and 45. That means the snapper's on the left side of number 4. The numbers, are the same, but the snapper changes. And our blue formation, when our 5 is snapping, is 34, 46, and 47. So here is for our example formation of 14. That means our 1 and our 4 are off. Sorry guys, I'm messing with this. Our 1 and our 4 are off, so that tells the 3, it's a red formation, the 3 is snapping the ball. Okay. Next formation is our 47. Our 1 and our 4 are off, so that tells the 3, it's a red formation, the 3 is snapping the ball. Okay. Next formation is our 47. It's a blue formation that tells the 5 he's snapping the ball, and so that's how we go about that. So you could really kind of have fun, knowing the system, getting into as many different looks as you want. Just I advise you to get a pen and paper out and just start doodling all the different formations using this matrix, and you'll have a lot of fun with it. It's a good uh, time killer if you're like in a staff meeting or something. Just see how many exotic formations and see how creative you could get, because that's something I've done. We've all teachers know um, that you're looking for things to do in staff meetings at some points. But anyway, that's a song for another time. So question I get a lot is, if you have three different guys snapping the ball, how do you teach that? And what I've gotten the most mileage out of, um, I'm sure a lot of you guys have already discovered the Sutherland snap. You can see me. Here's a football. A typical snap, you snap it like you throw a football. However, in this one, you're gonna take the crown of the ball, and so you're holding it like this, then you snap it. In that way, I've just felt like that's been easier to teach and easier for the students to, because students' hands vary, their sizes. So not everyone has the hand to grab the football by the laces and snap between the legs in a traditional way, but this Jock Sutherland snap just affords for more people to be able to snap the ball successfully, I found. And if you want to copy this presentation, I'll be more than happy to share it with you. On it, click this link and it'll dive into the Jock Sutherland snap. Basically, I want to talk about the run game. Obviously, this isn't the entire run game, but this is our base run game. So it's all out of 26, guys. 26 is our base series. It's your 2x2 look. You could also do 26 over, and things aren't that much different either. So something to think about. Our run game is composed of just three different concepts: sweep, trap, and zone. It's these, it's all about simplicity, and these three run game concepts are super simple to teach and have built on rules that are easy to follow, and that can work against a variety of defensive fronts and stunts, etc. So I want to talk about sweep first. In our 26 sweep, it's our quarterback sweep RPO. So we're basically everyone, our ineligibles are reaching to the play side. If it's so we're a right-handed team, so everything's to the right unless we tag it north. So 26 sweep north would be to the left, or 26 sweep south would be to the left. Any directional tag just means left, because our base is our right. We're always running to our right. We're a right-handed team. There's no secrets about that. But if we want to run to the left, we could just say 26 Seattle north, and that just tells everyone that this play is going to the left. So if we're running 26 Seattle, we are quarterback's taking snap, and he is attacking this apex defender. All right, and so this hopefully we could put this defender in conflict. So either he has to choose to take this bubble that our 6 slot is running, or he has to attack the quarterback. If he chooses to attack the quarterback, I want our quarterback to throw to the 6, the slot back, right about at the numbers. Okay. However, that slot might be taken by this guy, or the number 1 defender, cornerback, who's ever guarding the first guy, the last guy outside, the wide out receiver, who's running a deep route. It's primarily designed to run off this defender, but if this defender is cheating up, he will be open for a get behind the defense. Quarterback shows sweep action and throw it over the top. There is also the third option. But this was basically triple option football. A form of it is a RPO. Basically, this offense has a lot of quote RPOs. I know it's in vogue right now, but I want to give kids options. I want to give them like a constructive approach. So here is the play. Here's how the defense will probably line up to it. Here are your options. Now go play. I like to call it structured playground ball. So I want to give them a few rules, but I like my chances getting my best athlete at quarterback and having him touch the ball on all the snaps and see what happens. So I like my odds with my best guy getting the ball on all the snaps. But so that's our Seattle. And In our 26 series, our run game, it really only changes for the three ineligible receivers, the blockers. Like I said, the reach, i.e., you'll reach block to the play side, no matter the formation. So if we call Seattle, if you're an ineligible receiver, which means you're covered and you're on the line of scrimmage, you will reach block to your right. Okay, and so our Texas is our trap, and it's a complement. It's a complement to our sweep because we install sweep first. Well, if we're finding that the defense is flying over the top, getting to our sweep, covering all three of our options on our sweep, that tells us that they're weaker inside because you can't do both. The numbers won't allow you to play the sweep and play the trap. So if sweep's not working, that tells us that traps. And it's not your traditional. I guess it's a trap. It's a gap scheme, but this could be considered trap. This could be considered counter. This can be considered power. It's basically a down, and a kick out, however you want to call that. And the action from your slots and your wideouts could be the same thing as Seattle. It could be the same thing as Vegas, which is our vertical concept. But that's just kind of the chess match we play there. And like I said, it doesn't matter where your four eligible receivers are lined up. These guys, 3, 4, and 5, in this case, they're always going to be down block, and kick out to the play side. And the rules are gap down backer. If you're on the down block, so if there's someone in your gap, you're going to take him automatically. You got a great angle. Okay. If there's a guy next to, a guy lined up on the next man down. So if you're the 5, if there's no one in your gap, there's a guy in the number 4, you're going to take down block that number 4's guy. Same thing could be said about the other 4, the center in this case. Gap down backer. If someone in your gap, someone down. If there's no one in your gap or down from you, work up to a backer. And the kick out man, he is aiming on an inside out track to kick out, dig out the man first outside of the down blocks. So usually it's the force player, get under him. Quarterback will set that up, making it look like sweep, then turn it up north and south when the time comes. Okay, and our last base run game, we don't really run 26 Indiana. It's just a basic inside zone. Zone has to be taught. There's a lot of different ways to teach zone, but what I've found that if I just say, all right, take a lateral step, then work up to who's ever on your track, it looks kind of like pass blocking. It becomes passive. So when we're in our inside zone, our Indiana concept, as we call it, each player will take a 6-inch step at a 45-degree angle. So they're all working down. So it looks like kind of a bunch of down blocks. If you're familiar with the 11-man duo scheme, it's kind of like inside zone, but it's more of a gap philosophy with double teams and just down blocks. So we kind of want to keep our gap scheme the same, but our zone will just kind of communicates to the players that everyone is going in the same direction, in the same zone. So it's more like a duo, if you're familiar with the duo concept, than a true inside zone. But that's just how we call it, is our inside zone. And usually this is ran out of our split look, so we could option a player, or our ace look, so it's an option too. You could run it as you could run it just by itself with no backs and just taking your quarterback up the A gap, but that's fun. It's a little more fun to dress it up and see if you can option a player, especially if they're tearing up trap or whatever it may be. It's just an option. Like I mentioned, ineligible receivers will take a 6-inch, 45-degree angle step towards the play side, then drive. They got to aim for the domino effect. So everyone's getting washed down. Quarterback is running zone. Trying to hit north and south as soon as possible, but obviously it's a zone block, so zone blocking scheme. So we don't know where exactly that may hit, but it's downhill nevertheless. Okay, so that was pretty much the nuts and bolts to our run game. Our pass game is quite simple as well. It's one play but many tags. Um, Four verts is our base concept. It's a way to stretch the field vertically, horizontally, all in one. However, there's some details that we could work out too. So our verticals is our Vegas scheme. 26 Vegas would be the name of this call. But our passing game routes are based on leverage and options. So, um, and it's rooted from Mouse Davis's run and shoot philosophy. Basically tells us that if the defender on us is deep, you stay shallow. If the defender is pressed, we get deep. If the defender is outside of us, we get inside, and if the defender is inside, we get outside. So it's basically trying to out leverage the defender based on spacing, based on where you are in relation to him. And like I said, the goal is always to make the defense defend the entire field. So this is one way that we could do this, and it's super simple, and it's super simple to understand. Like I said, our quarterback may not be a typical quarterback, came up through all the quarterback camps, whatever it is. He's more of a runner, frankly. So I want to make it as easy on the quarterback as possible, and the way we do that is just running verts, screens, and tagging the verts if we have to. And so here's our four verticals, our Vegas with our two slots getting that vertical choice route. So basically, you want to size up your defender. If you could outrun him and get it by him, run a vert. If he's playing over the top, try to get inside. And obviously, this takes reps, and the quarterback and the receiver have to be on the same page. But in practice, by only running one concept, you could get good at these concepts. And also, so it depends on where this defender is. You might have to run a curl and break outside. But to make this simple, you just got to throw it where the defender's not, and just put the pressure on the defense to make a great play. That's basically what the four verse concept comes down to. And also, you could tag it to get whatever you like. For example, our Vegas curl is it's Vegas for the outside receivers, but instead of running a vertical choice, it'll automatically run a curl route. That's if I know as a coach they're playing off and they're playing really, they're not giving us the vert right off the bat. We'll just run screen, run a hitch, whatever it is to keep them honest and maybe help them creep up a little bit. So then we could hit our deep route. Vegas X is just our crossing pattern. Crossing routes, that's a little harder to do in 8-man. That's more of an 11-man thing, your mesh. But it's an option for us. It depends on if the defense is blitzing or not. And our Vegas cut, it also takes a lot of time. It depends on protection, blitz, whatever the defense is giving us. But it's the scissors concept with a post from the outside receiver and a corner from the slot. That's really good against man coverage if you have the time. That's always a thing. Do we have the time? And do we have the arm to do that? But we have possible tags if we need them, but we won't automatically install them. And our screen game is, our offense is truly divided into thirds: run game, pass game, screen game. Screens are a huge part, as well as draws, just to make the defense keep the defense on their toes, not letting them be too aggressive, and to kind of just keep their guard up. And that's what I want. I don't want a defense. I know I play my best defense when we have our ears pinned back and we know what's coming and we're ready to come up and fit a run or pressure the pass. So a healthy screen game has gone a long way to mitigate a lot of defensive aggression. And like I said, you're going to get a lot of cover zero, a lot of heavy blitzing with this offensive scheme. So a great way to counter that is with the screens. Like all of our other plays, they're cities. If you've already noticed the trend, Seattle sweep, Texas is trap, Indiana is zone. But our screen game, so if we're running to the left, it'll be LA. If we're running to the right, it'll be New York. You could tell that by looking on a map, on the left side of a map. is LA. On the right side is New York. So also, what I love about our screen game is no matter how exotic our formation is, if you go on the formation matrix, you can see a lot of different exotic looks you could get into very easy. Your screen rules don't change. Obviously, you need to practice and you need to rep them. But as far as rules are concerned, what you have to, you just rep it. There's not a lot of teaching. It's just reps. Okay. So some rules: the outside offensive backs, OBs, or slots. They'll run it. Their job is to block a guy, kind of, with their legs, run deep, get him out of the picture. All right. So this is designed to look like Vegas. Our outside receivers are taking about 2 to 3 steps based on speed, based on leverage, whatever it is. Then plant head inside. There's going to be a tunnel path forming. Okay. Ineligible receivers are blockers, are defending, are attacking defenders from the working outside to in. So I'll just show you right now. So if we're running LA to the left, as you can see, our slot, he's just running off a defender. Hopefully, if we're being effective, running our Vegas concept, they will have to honor that. Our 3, the closest man, he's probably responsible for blocking the one's defender. 4, the second threat, and 5, the third threat. Those are the basic rules, and no matter what your formation is, when you know that the end man line of scrimmage, who's eligible, is getting the screen, the off man line of scrimmage is running a vert. It doesn't matter who's on, who's off. As long as they know the rule, we'll be able to execute a screen. And it's pretty much the same rules, just flipped to the other side. So basically, that's the nuts and bolts of our playbook and what we major in. Obviously, throughout the year, you could get introduce some new exotics and have some fun with the formation matrix, but you got to major in the important things and get those down before you could get into the matrix and get an exotic with it. So lastly, guys, I would be remiss if I didn't share my ideas about tempo and how to achieve a high rate of speed in your offense. Everyone wants tempo, but you got to train it. So a couple ideas I've had for tempo is having an extremely limited playbook. Like I said, we have 3 run game concepts and pretty much just 1 pass game concept, basically, with some tags. So, and a screen. So those are 5 things that we do. Those are only 5 plays, basically. 5 plays, extremely limited. Our formation matrix allows us to do a lot of different things with those 5 plays and dress them up, but it really comes down to 5 different plays. Okay. And also a big thing for me is, I'm a teacher, and I know in the beginning of the school year, we have to establish rules, procedures, expectations, all that stuff. And the way you do that is practice, practice, practice. So, my first few weeks of school, we're just going over procedures and repping those. The same thing could be done. You probably don't need weeks. You probably just need a couple practices, just practicing how to practice. All right, guys, we're gonna practice how to practice. That means, how do we go from water to the next drill? How do we go from each drill? A big part of my practice plan is circuit training. We will pretty much, if we're not doing offense versus air or offense versus scout, we're doing something in a circuit. I found that circuits, they train for tempo. They condition players, and they allow us to do a variety of different things and kind of maximize our coaching staff. Because as you know, in 8-man football, you're not blessed with a 10-man staff. It's usually 2, 3, 4 if you're lucky. So that's circuit training, incorporating circuits and having each coach kind of focus on 2 or 3 different elements of a circuit makes for an efficient practice. And also with that, it does go fast, because when you think about it, each play is about 5 seconds. Depends on how many plays you run. But a football game is only about 15 to 20 minutes of actual playing. So why not have a practice that's fast? Get in, get out, make it simple, make it fast. Really try to condition mentally, physically, the high urgency offensive attack we want to do. But that just takes reps and reps and reps. and simple, and just doing it over and over again and just making it a habit. Lastly, I think it's really important to have a communication system. There's a lot of different great ideas, but the best way that I've been able to communicate the plays is our no huddle language, which I said is all cities, and the formation matrix. That's our language. And it's also risk coaches. So we communicate what the play is to the quarterback, and the quarterback then communicates it to the rest of the players. So this is what a sample quarterback risk coach would be. Here's 30 different plays, actually 24, 6 times 4. This is what we'll bring into a game. And so you got your basics: 26 Seattle, 26 Texas, 26 Indiana, with our 17s. Then over on the other side of things, on the blue column, we'll get more exotic. We'll have a couple of exotics every game, and this is kind of what we'll base our team sessions on, is getting these players down, and so that's just an effective way I've been able to relay plays and communicate with my players, is through risk coaches and through this no huddle language. Yeah, guys, thank you for listening. This is my 8-man formation matrix. Is something I've just learned from hearing a lot of great 8-man coaches present on their spread, and I'm just trying to continue to evolve and grow. So please reach out to me if this is something that you're doing, if something you want to do, because I would love to just talk ball, see what you're doing with your 8-man spread offense. Hope everything's going well for everyone, and thanks again, Coach Bandstra, for putting this on. I really appreciate what you're doing.